Do you know what an Etch-a-Sketch is? It's an old toy from my childhood, and I want to see if WebGPT can build me that from scratch with absolutely no code and just natural language prompts. You can pause the video here if you want to read the full requirements that I wrote out. And I'm also going to fast forward through all these little purple actions, but that's where the actual WebGPT agent is doing all the coding in the background. So it spits out a link to playtest it, and right off the bat, what I can tell you is the arrow keys cannot be pressed and held. They have to be tapped, and that's not my desired behavior. So I'm going to give this feedback back to the LLM. And on its second iteration, it seems to be working much better. The screen is scrolling still though, and I'd like it to have locked focus so that the arrow keys don't move the outer page. So again, just using natural language, get that feedback. And this is looking a lot better. Slight movement there at the very beginning, but I'm not going to split hairs. So one of the things with the Etch-a-Sketch that you might not know is that the stylus is actually scraping little aluminum shavings, aluminum powder off the screen. And when you shake it, static electricity causes that powder to redistribute evenly back over the scratched surface of the screen, which makes it look like it's erasing the drawing. It's actually just kind of like painting over the drawing with a thin sheet of aluminum. So to recreate this effect digitally, I just asked GPT to make it so that if I click and hold, I can erase the drawings, but it seems to be malfunctioning. So a couple things here. The clicking and holding does appear to be erasing the drawing gradually over time, but we seem to have introduced a regression bug where we broke the arrow keys. Now when you press and hold them and when you release the arrow key, it doesn't seem to actually stop pressing down. AI isn't perfect, neither are humans, but as you could imagine, GPT had no problem fixing the arrow keys and returning it back to intended. However, the clicking appears to have a new bug introduced. So what's happening with the clicking and holding now is it is erasing it, but it's actually also erasing the cursor at the end of it, and then that is preventing me from continuing the drawing from there. So I'm going to give this feedback to the LLM. Now, a quick little sidebar on how WebGPT works. It's a three-step process for this auto-coding. So it has to write the changes, then it has to preview the commit and do an analysis, and then commit it. And the commit seems to have errored out here, which is going to be a problem. So I just have to remind the LLM to go ahead and try that commit again. It recovers just fine. And here we have our new changes. Drawing is working fine, but clicking is doing nothing now, no erasing at all. So we seem to be really struggling right now with the click inputs as well as the keyboard inputs. So let's try adapting our approach a little bit. We're going to ask the LLM to reassign the erasing functionality to the spacebar keys. So we get rid of the mouse inputs entirely, and it's entirely going to be a keyboard-driven experience. And so yes, clicking does nothing anymore, but the spacebar does indeed erase the drawing with the intended behavior of slowly fading to a zero opacity. That's perfect. All right, so now that we have all the core functionality working, let's add some features to this Etch-a-Sketch. Let's actually add some color selectors to the number keys 1 through 9. And remember how I mentioned that the no-code building is a three-step process: write the changes, preview the commit, and then commit them to the disk. It looks like it missed that third step again. So just a quick reminder, and the AI gets back on track. And now that we've added color support, I'm noticing a slight problem here. There's a border around the cursor, which is causing this sort of repeating, cascading effect when drawing. So we are using the GPT-4 vision model to power WebGPT. So I'm going to take a screenshot, actually append the screenshot, describe what the problem is and the changes I'd like the LLM to make here, and it's going to go ahead and do one more iterative fix. And just like that, in a matter of minutes, not hours, with no coding knowledge required whatsoever, just natural language, I was able to build a fully featured, full-color Etch-a-Sketch, fully deployed in an interactive environment with no configurations and no software installations needed whatsoever.